Conocen en este video la entrevista que le hicimos a Sarah Kais, corredora profesional de trail running y ultra trail running. Así que empezamos ya. Yo soy Fernando Valenzuela y detrás de cámara Aracely Guerrero. Nosotros junto a ustedes somos Legión OCR. En este video les vamos a mostrar una súper entrevista que le hicimos a Sarah Kais, en la que vamos a mostrarles muchos consejos que ella nos va a dar acerca del mundo del running y las mujeres que están envolviéndose en este mundo tan chévere. Así que empezamos ahora. Welcome everybody again, and we are now with Sarah Kais. She is an amazing trail runner and we have honored to have you here.
Thanks.
Please say hello to the community of the South America that see us.
Hola! Super psyched to be here. Really lovely.
We invite Sarah here to make some questions about the trail running world, but especially focused in the how many women are involved in this sport, so we can have a knowledge about the global impact of the women in the trail running. But we start in the beginning. How do you start to run?
I started to run after high school, so after school. Really wasn't on a team, but I think that, speaking of ways to get women involved, I think kids programming is really important, so starting them as children. Mm-hmm. But for me, I ran after high school as a way to kind of clear my head and to spend time in the mountains, and where I'm from is very mountainous, and so for me it was sort of like my therapy, you know, to be in the mountains. And, then as I ran more, I realized I was kind of good at it, and so continued and raced, and it's been really fun and wonderful, and very, you know, as far as women goes, very confidence boosting, makes me feel strong.
Super.
Yeah.
You are a great runner, an ultra trail runner. So tell the people where is the maximum distance that you are run?
So the longest races that I do are 100-mile races, so 168 kilometers.
Yes.
I this year probably won't do that long. Let's focus on shorter races. I'm recovering from an injury, a hip injury that is just from overuse probably, and doing those very long events. So this year I decided I'd do short mountainous stuff, and my big race that I'd like to do is the UTMB CCC in France. So that's 100K, so still long.
But not 160.
Exactly.
But for average people, even men, it's a crazy distance.
It's getting more popular, I think, to go longer. I think it's something, as a trail runner, you just don't know how far you can go, and so you keep going, and just to find the edge. To make the people know, how many time do you take to finish a race of 160 kilometers? So it depends on the terrain. So if it's very mountainous, you know, the winner, like female winner, maybe under 24 hours. If it's very long, like with UTMB, for example, which is probably the most well-known, it's under 24 hours. And that's usually the goal for me too, is to finish under 24 hours. Some events you plan to sort of like take a nap or do something in the middle. So it's, you know, you don't have to go out like to win, you know, you can go and do these events and take 2 days. They give you a long time to complete it. But for me, I'm always trying to do well.
Do you hear correct? Take a whole day to finish a race. It's a whole day running, maybe resting a little bit, but a whole day running and running and running. I focus in this because most people say that running is kind of boring, and this is what they don't run. But what do you think about that?
I mean, for me, I like to go to these sorts of places that are beautiful, so it's never really boring when you have really beautiful views.
And I think certainly there are times where it's, I wouldn't call it boring, it's very challenging when it gets mentally tough, because it feels like, right, I have 100 kilometers left to go still, and it's a long way. But for me, I kind of focus on one thing at a time, and you do like just one foot in front of the other and try to enjoy the views, or sing a song in your head, or make it from checkpoint to checkpoint, you know, and or seeing crew. You know, a lot of these races you don't do it alone. You have people that help you, and so it's looking forward to seeing Aaron at the next crew stop, you know, that sort of thing. So
yes, a lot of people say that, and that the running is boring, and then there are a lot of people that run a whole day and also much longer. And I think that they can start building a better relationship with themselves, because you are spending a lot of time with you, so you have time to sing, to think, to do a lot of things. So it's amazing. I also enjoy the views. It's amazing for everything. So talking about the women in OCR and in running, there are just a few women that get involved. So what do you think that this happened?
I think, are you speaking specifically to Ecuador, to Latin America, or?
Ecuador or globally?
Yeah, I think in the U.S. and in Europe, I think it's women's participation is growing. There are some events that are very difficult to get into, that like Hard Rock 100 in Colorado is very well known in the United States. It's a 100-mile race, and they this year, their entry is by lottery. You know, they just pick random, and so this year they picked the same amount of women as men in their percentage of entry, which is, they have a system of doing this, but so they chose more women than in the past, and so it's getting more acknowledged that there's less women in the sport, and some of that I think is that it's like a lifestyle choice where, you know, if I had kids, it would be much harder for me to do this.
Yes.
I think that I coach athletes as well, and so I find I coach a lot of women who have already had a family and now are in their like 50s or 60s and start running, or get back to athletics because now they've had a career, they've had a family, and now they have time for themselves again. And so I think some of that is that. I think certainly there's places where women don't feel safe to run alone, you know, and I'm very lucky to live where I do, where I don't have to worry about that. You know, I don't live in a city, I don't live in a place where I feel unsafe, and never have, you know. So I think running, you know, if in a group, so, you know, like forming groups of women is empowering. And I think also like there's races too that provide childcare, like so you bring your kids with you and they get to hang out while you go race. And that's sort of happening in bike racing, but also in running. And I think that's a good way also that then women can, or men really with that, you know, like dads can bring their kids too, you know. But I think, as I mentioned earlier, getting girls, like young kids, involved in running is a good way, you know, to continue, so they feel they have that ability.
They are amazing advices for the community. We never saw something like that in this area, so we can promote to the organizations to do in that way, so more people could get involved.
I think too, with race organizers, so people that put on like an OCR event, somehow advertising to women or saying like, yes, come to our race, makes them feel like it's okay, you know. I think that is part of it, and then having other friends that do it too.
There are an idea in the women that they don't get involved in sports because they they don't feel confident with their bodies. And also there is this way of thinking that they will get a man body shape. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think a lot of people worry about that, but it's not true. You know, I think you can get muscle, but our bodies as females aren't made to, you know, get really large anyway. So I think that you shouldn't worry about that. And I also think that's a mindset. Like for me, when I have muscle, I feel strong, and I think I look good. And I think that's also cultural too, you know. And I think it's also that being a part of a group. My female friends also are strong, and so that makes me feel like we're the same and included. But I think. Like growing up, I wasn't into sports, but then when I started running in the mountains and becoming stronger, I was more confident because I felt good. And so I think when you feel good and healthy inside, yeah, that's important.
And so we are going to pass to a little recommendation that we are going to ask for the female community in order to improve their running.
Sure.
What could you say to the women in the running world mostly to improve in the running?
I think to find, if you're in a place where you don't feel safe running alone, finding friends or making a group yourself. If you don't have one, you know, in your community, make a group. But I think the most important thing is consistency. So getting out and running, maybe not every day, like Aaron said, but 5 days a week is enough to really make big improvements. And you know, if you're busy and have work or kids, like take them with you. Like they can ride their bike and you can run. Or you know, just going out for 30 minutes, you know, is enough really to get started and improve. And when, as Aaron was saying, working in some workouts is good. You know, I think once you accept that sometimes it hurts to run hard, but I look forward to those workouts now, and it hurts a little bit because you know you're getting better. And so that's pretty powerful when you can realize, yeah, I feel this is hard, but it's a good thing.
Another thing that I want to ask you is how do you work with the thing that the most of people, also the women, wants to get results faster, and then they don't see any results at all at the beginning, so they get frustrated.
Yeah, I think it takes a long time. It can but I think if you're only running 1 or 2 days a week, adding in more running will help a lot. If you are already running 5 days a week, adding in some strength work, even if you're not doing OCR and you just are a trail runner, adding in strength will help a lot also. And so if you're already running 5 days a week with a workout and a long run, adding in maybe 2 sessions of strength a week. And so I don't lift very heavy. Sometimes I do. It depends on where I am in my racing. But I'll do a lot of mobility, so sort of stretching and body weight movement that is like power based for running. So running uphill, you need a lot of power, and the body wants to move in a certain way. So if you train it to do that for running, it helps. Yeah.
Okay, amazing tips. So we are super happy to have you here. I will expect that you enjoyed your visit to Ecuador, and please send a message for all the women in this region to get more involved in the sports in general, and better in OCR and trail running.
Yeah, I think I would love to come back next year and see as many women as men running in this Petzl Trail Plus, and it's a great way to feel good about yourself.
Thank you so much. We are leaving the Sarah's social network here to, if you want to ask something related about running or women involved in sports. So she will coach you.
Yeah.
Free question. So thank you so much for staying here in this interview, and we hope the best for you in the race that you will run in Ecuador.
Thanks very much. It's great. Yeah.
Muchas gracias por ver este video hasta el final. Déjennos su like, a nosotros nos sirve muchísimo. Déjennos también un comentario y no se olviden de compartir este video, que tiene muchísimas recomendaciones que Sara nos ha hecho para toda la comunidad latinoamericana y en especial enfocada en las mujeres. Así que les mandamos un abrazo gigante y sin más por el momento, y como siempre, nos vemos en las carreras, en las virtuales también.